Giants fans, if you need to learn about the new guy in charge for Big Blue, have no fear. The boy is here to give you a rundown on Joe Judge and everything else New York Giants. Yes, what's good everybody? Welcome back to Chat Sports TV. I am your host, Nick Dais at The Lamb Show on all social media outlets. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do so in the description below. It is very simple. It is very easy. Now, let's pull up the coach profile for one Joe Judge. The unknown Joe Judge, who about a week ago, his name didn't really resonate with not only the Giants audience, but the NFL audience. This guy is a new head coach for the New York Giants, 38-year-old coach from Pennsylvania, has spent many years under the Bill Belichick umbrella and the Nick Saban umbrella. Both have given him the stamp of approval for him to be a phenomenal coach at the next level in the NFL. He is a special teams coach who had to go through the ranks of special teams to get to where he is now. Last season coaching the wide receivers for the New England Patriots. And I know what you might be saying. Nick, the wide receivers last year were atrocious for the New England Patriots. Yes, but that was a talent issue. I don't think you could put the blame on Joe Judge. Let's look at some of the former coaches that went from special teams guys to being successful head coaches. As we look, one guy is playing in the divisional round of the playoffs this year with a bye week, and that is John Harbaugh, who is the Philadelphia Eagles special teams coordinator from 98 to 2006. Marv Levy, kicking coach for Philadelphia in 1969, then was the Rams special team coach in 1970s. He went on to coach the Buffalo Bills in the 90s. Dick Vermeil, LA Rams special team coach in 1969, and of course Mike Ditka, special teams coach and receivers coach, similar path to Joe Judge for the Dallas Cowboys. Bill Cowher, Cleveland Browns special teams coach, and yes, the GOAT, Bill Belichick, was a special teams coach for the Detroit Lions and an assistant special teams coach with the Denver Broncos before becoming the DC for the New York Giants. So, I'm not saying Joe Judge is going to follow these guys' footsteps, but it's nice to know that this trajectory we have seen being successful in the past. Here is something else you need to know about one Joe Judge. He has spent a lot of times with the Alabama Crimson Tide under Nick Saban as well as Bill Belichick. Judge was a member of the coaching staff who won Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots in the last couple of years, and in 2009 and 2011 won the BCS National Championships with Alabama. He's been coaching for 15 years, the last 8 with the Patriots as a special teams assistant, then became the special teams coach, and of course the wide receivers coach like we just mentioned before. It's important to note that the New England Patriots over the last 8 years arguably have the best special teams in the entire NFL, and that is something that the New York Giants have been lacking desperately for special teams help. It is the most underrated and underappreciated unit of the 3. Offense, defense, and special teams. No one ever shows love to kickers, punters, and the special teamers, but they dictate the entire game flow from field position to potential turnovers. Games swing on special teams. Weigh in, guys. Do you think that the Giants rushed into a new relationship with Joe Judge? And what I mean by that is over this past weekend, wild card weekend, the New York Giants were interviewing many coaches. Last week we did a video last week on coaches that they brought in to interview, and then all of a sudden, at the drop of a hat, Joe Judge is the new head coach for the New York Giants. So, my thoughts, and please leave some thoughts in the comments below. Just because he's an unknown, which, I'll be honest with you folks, I knew nothing about the guy until his name started to circulate just a couple weeks ago as a potential head coach candidate. And then, lo and behold, he is the head coach of my favorite football team, the New York Giants. And just because he's an unknown doesn't mean he's going to be a bad hire. I think we've been proven time and time again that we need to not rush to conclusion and wait and see what the future holds for a top draft pick, a free agent signing, or in this situation, a head coach. One thing that I really like about Joe Judge is that the GOAT said he can be the guy. And what I mean by that is Bill Belichick giving him the cosign. Bill Belichick, many people might not realize, was the defensive coordinator in the 1980s and early 1990s with Bill Parcells for the New York Giants, won 2 Super Bowls. The Mara family absolutely loves and adores Bill Belichick, and they have let the door stay open with the possibility of him one day returning back to the New York Giants, not as a coach when his coaching days are done, but as a front office guy. Bill Belichick does have a soft spot in his heart for New York, and I know, folks, Bill Belichick does have a heart to many of our surprises. Here's a quote from Bill Belichick prior to the Thursday night showdown with the Giants this year. Their family, their organization, and just the way they do things, I was very, very fortunate to be a part of the great organization for 12 years, and I learned a lot from so many people there, said Bill Belichick. And the Mara family has always been good to my family. So, who knows? Maybe one day Bill Belichick will be a guy who will be a GM potentially for the Giants, president of football operations, who knows? But anything to help get the Giants out of the crap situation they've been in over the last couple of years. One thing Joe Judge has to do, absolutely has to do, is figure out what's good with Daniel Jones and giving every single team that he plays, it seems like 5 turnovers a game, just gift wrapped in their hands. Daniel Jones, the former 6th overall pick in last year's NFL draft, showed big time upside in many games, but also shown that he does just give the ball away. Over a 16-game sample size, a combined 30 turnovers is what PFF was grading him on. Like we said, he has shown upside, but the constant situation of him just giving the football away cannot be happening. He needs to improve on protecting the football. And he is a new age quarterback. And what I mean by that, the days of you being a pure pocket passer and just sitting back there and being a statue is done. Guys like Phillip Rivers, guys like Eli Manning, you don't see those guys coming into the league anymore. You need to be mobile. You don't need to run a 4.4 40 like Lamar Jackson does, but you need to be able to create with your feet and get the pocket moving and be able to pick up 3rd and 8s, 4th and 2s if you have a chance to run. So, weigh in, guys. Is Daniel Jones the heir apparent to the Eli Manning throne? Can he be a guy that's going to be a franchise quarterback for the New York Giants for the next 10 plus years? We're not asking him to be Pat Mahomes, because no one can be Pat Mahomes. We're asking him to be a guy like Matt Ryan. Can he bring stability to the franchise at the one most important position on the field? Because I think he could. But the fact that he does turn the ball over so many times, game in, game out, I want to say that he averaged a turnover. He did average a turnover in every single game, but it felt like he had 2 to 3 turnovers every single time that we watched him. So, how are we feeling, Giant fans, about one Daniel Jones? Because I like him, but my main concern is the turnovers. And the very unfortunate thing about it is that you can't look at the Giants' offensive weapons and say that Daniel Jones doesn't have anybody to give the rock to. It's just not true. The issue with the New York Giants offense is that they can't stay healthy. And that is my biggest concern going into this offseason and this free agency. The Giants' skill players collectively, I think, have one of the most elite units in the National Football League. You look at Saquon Barkley, arguably a top 3 running back in the NFL. Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram at tight end. All those guys just can't stay healthy. And, of course, the emergence of one Darius Slayton, who led the NFL in touchdowns as a rookie wide receiver this year. He was a guy that became a field stretcher, showed tremendous chemistry with both Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. And it's important to remember that he's the one wide receiver on the team that doesn't do the same things that everyone else does, right? One of the things that made me so skeptical about the Golden Tate signing was that he lines up in the slot where he's most effective, and as well as that's where Sterling Shepard, who also got paid last offseason, lines up the majority of the time, and Evan Ingram out of the slot is where you want to utilize him so he can hit his ceiling. The Giants need to stay healthy. That is concern number one. They need to also improve left tackle. Solder, I understand, hell of a story, battling some of the demons that he had to overcome, but I think he's a shot fighter, and some of that money that the Giants have, they're in the top 5 in the most money available to spend on free agents, and especially with getting rid of Janoris Jenkins, big money is coming off the books for the New York Giants this offseason, so they need to replace him because he is a liability for this offense. And one thing that the Giants have already started to put out in the air is the possibility of 2020 being a return for one Eli Manning in some capacity. John Mara said that we're leaving the door open for Eli Manning to come back. The Giants quarterback has spent 16 years, all his years in the NFL with the New York Giants. It's one of those situations where it's going to look really weird if we see Eli Manning in a Jacksonville Jaguars jersey or a LA Chargers jersey. Well, talk about coming full circle. But like I said, John Mara opened up to bringing Eli Manning back in some capacity. The quarterback is 39 years old. Weigh in below, guys, as we wrap up this video. Have we seen the last of Eli Manning as a member of the New York Giants in any capacity, whether as a starter, a backup, or a member of the organization? Like I said before, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do. youtube.com/chatsportstv. I am your host at The Lamb Show on all social media outlets, and we'll catch you guys next time on Chat Sports.